traffic jam is on now.
How you doing? This is Kenny Williams, and I'm your host here for Traffic Jam, and I'm here with Jay Alexander from the iconic fashion brand FUBU. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm blessed, man. Just
Well,
enjoying this day. Cause we gotta go up ground because it's not looking good.
Yeah. So what you been doing to keep busy through this pandemic?
Well, I mean, listen, work never stops with us. As far as food is concerned, we're always constantly, trying to move the needle. Although, the needle got kind of stuck, during this COVID situation. But like I said, we're always constantly just trying to get new product out there, do a lot of collaboration. That's what we're doing for this, this kind of layoff per se, just to kind of stay in the marketplace. But even me personally, I'm doing a lot of different things. We also took on our own little personal licenses. We can talk about that later. But just working hard, man. Just trying to stay afloat, trying to stay safe. Trying to keep with keep with the times. It's hard because with us, as far as FUBU, especially my job. I'm the creative director. So I create what's going on, and without actually being out there with the people, you can't really feel the vibe of what's really going on. And it's new. So I'm kind of at a standstill. But then I've been reaching out, as far as social media, as far as just IG and things like that, all these new apps, Clubhouse, things like that, just to kind of really stay with the people and just try to figure out what's going to happen next, what's going on next. As far as fashion, it's been hard, but it's my job, and I gotta keep it going.
So for the people and who haven't heard of FUBU, how did FUBU get created? Why is something for me? I'm a Queens cat, and I know you cats. Yeah, it's like to get you guys to come from Queens to build this brand. How did it create it? How did y'all get together? In the history as far as
it's one of those questions that you had the dollar for every time you answered it. You put it in a little cookie jar. Save it. That'll be your savings. I guess you could take that and throw up some stocks later, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
But, no, so basically, Damon John, of course, everybody knows Damon John, Shark Tank. Damon John created a hat. He, along with Carl Brown, who was around at the time, they all were childhood friends just as well, went out on a day of trying to sell these hats. He sold a few of them, and he felt like he had something. But what he had was a sale. And again, if you look at it, Damon, of course, he's a shark now. But again, he was the type of guy that just kind of wanted to sell stuff. He just wanted to make money, and that's really what it was about. He was that kind of type of guy. Me, I went off in Desert Storm, and I came home for Desert Storm. I was working at Macy's, and I went to FIT. So when I came home, I wanted to be in fashion. So by me wanted to be in fashion, I saw that that was kind of an opportunity for me to be in fashion, because I saw that he made a hat. It was a logo on it. It was called Forest Buyers, and I was very much interested in that. He was like, look, I don't know how we're going to do this. This doesn't make sense. Can you have a brand? Like, I said, no, just give me this chance to try to make it happen. I wound up having some money from the military and an accident that I had. I got on a medical discharge, took that money, took the GI Bill, went to school, and gave him the money and said, hey, let's start the brand. And, we haven't turned back since.
You're watching The Traffic Jam.
So how were you able to keep
I know it
this
sounds
brand?
so simple. I know it sounds so simple, but
I know. And the other question is going to make sense. And I know that's a generic question you get, like, yo, how did you start it? Who's like, is that whole thing. But what's the amazing thing is that you guys, it's like forming a singing group. Like, how do you guys exist? And it's still a brand. I know you guys licensed it off, but you still are like connected after all these years. Like, it started in what year?
1992.
92. So you get what I'm saying as far as like, how were y'all able to just keep this brand relevant after all these years?
Well, there's been times that hasn't been relevant. It's
Mhm.
been not necessarily 100% dormant, but it hasn't been at the top of everyone's Christmas list. But that's business. Business goes up, business goes down. The life cycle of a business, bell curve. The whole thing when it comes to just straight up business 101. So with that, you have to kind of keep the eye on the pulse again, like I was alluding to earlier. You have to, just keep out there and keep a product going. We started something years ago in that mantra of for us buyers. So we can't just that can't get just thrown away. When you start something that link, it almost becomes a legacy brand. And just like you look at the other brands like a Gucci or a Prada or whatever, in that light, we have those years in.
Mhm.
And a lot of times I'm speaking and I'm talking to people and I say, the minute they say something, oh, I started a brand. And I'm like, no, you haven't started a brand. You started a business.
Okay. What's the difference?
I believe, and maybe it's a personal thing, not even a personal thing, it's backed with facts. But the fact the remaining is you start a business and, as far as fashion is concerned, over years and time, it develops into a household name. And it develops into a situation in which you have licensing, and I guess we'll talk about a little later, in licensing in which we have our products licensed out all over the world. So in turn, we kind of sit back and benefit off of that, off of a name, right, that we created in 1992 that hasn't died. Now, if you look at the other brands that other companies, let's just say, that have been in business, in fashion that started with us, they're no longer here.
Yes. Yes.
You're watching The Traffic Jam.
How many members? Not members. It sound like a thing, girl. How
Well,
many founders?
members, why not?
Okay. So is four
It's a corporation.
is four founders of this brand, right? But why do we see just like it's like when we look at New Edition, we know all of the New Edition, Ricky, Bobby, why do we just see the face? Why is Damon just the face of
Well, this is how it happened because basically at one time, Fubu again wasn't really the household name, and out of the grace of God for him, he wound up with a show called Shark Tank. Now, again, this is quiet as kept, but why not? Damon initially was really scared to take that position, that job. There was a time when TV it was a lot of reality TV was just kind of coming into the fold, and it was a lot of looking for people who are kind of the best in their field, and they would actually have personality. Hopefully, they would have personality, and they would actually be on a television show, and that's what they were looking for. And at one time, a friend of his said, "Hey, listen, there's a show that." He could have came to any of us if that was my friend. It was something that they were looking for. They were looking for an African American male that is successful in their business and that can come on this show that came from overseas. And again,
okay.
like I said, I'm not to tell his personal business, but he was he was torn between doing it because he's he's not that type of guy that kind of wants to really be out there. Because when you really look at football from back in the days, I was the one that was really the showman. I was everywhere. I was in every club, everywhere, and I was pretty much the face. But as the brand subsided, none of us really were the face. And until now, until the show, it got him in a whole nother realm.
Okay.
Hollywood's one hell of a drug.
Mm-hmm.
Once they embrace you and you're out there, all of a sudden you become the voice.
Yes.
So he became that voice. Not that he necessarily still wanted to be that face, but he had to grow into that. And again, it wasn't for the faint of heart. That's not something he really wanted to do because now his family is in jeopardy. His people in jeopardy. People are looking at him. He didn't really want that. And again, I'm not speaking for him, but I know that personally because we had conversations when it first started. And because I was the first one he came to and was like, man, I don't know what to do. And I said, do what your heart feels. Again, if it's an opportunity, if you're gonna kick yourself if you don't take it. Because again, to speak about Keith, Keith was in the runnings to be on BET way back when it first started, to be one of the hosts.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm going to do FUBU. I want to do FUBU. And, a lot of us, we chose to just really stay on FUBU. And because that's who we were. That's what our thing was. And like I said, this opportunity came up. It was at the right time. Well, not at the right time, but at the time where the brand was kind of, going down per se, but nobody really knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, look, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. I told him it's an opportunity of a lifetime, man. You just take it. Don't, deal with the rest of it later, and he took it. And, 10 years later, he's still on the show.
You're watching The Traffic Jam.
Well, I'll say, like, this question I have for you, and a lot of people are doing these master classes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I truly think, like, you're one of those people that could run a master class. What would you say are the 5 lessons to being an entrepreneur?
Oh, man. I talk about this every day. I usually I counsel people. And I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to answer your question after I make a statement per se.
Okay.
So a lot of people come to me as a mentor. I say no. And
Why?
like, well, why do you say no? I said, because you can come to me and we could talk and I can be a strategic partner, but I will not be your mentor. And I said, what about strategic advisor? No, I will not be your strategic advisor. I will be your strategic partner. Now, why do I say that? Because I'm the type of guy where, although not everybody can deal with something I call goals, some people that everyone calls goals, I call it vision. And that has led me to where I'm at today, per se. So why I say strategic partner is because if you're a mentor, and a mentor what they do is they're gonna take a person, and every time you have a problem, you're gonna go to them. But based off only their knowledge, you're gonna go, wow, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna go with what they did. Not necessarily go with you have your direction to go into. So I think sometimes, to me, and this is how I say it, is there should be a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm talking to you and I'm helping you, then you're talking to me and you're helping me. And then now you are your own destiny, not someone's destiny that is pushing you towards the way that they're going. It's pushing you towards where you're going.
Okay.
Now, if I go backwards even more into that, or in depth into that, I can say, someone can tell you, hey, you know what? You should be in fashion. Okay, so fine, you're in fashion, right? You say, well, what kind of fashion? Oh, I think that this is your mentor telling you that I think that you should be more in styling, but you don't really feel styling. You don't really, something in you does not, but you maybe feel being a buyer,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or being a designer. So I just feel like because think about this with a goal. A lot of times people, if I do like this, and I guess you could see us, right? And I only see what's in front of me. I don't see the obstacles around me that can be pulling me or turning me or doing something or anything or obstructing my vision. So now I get to a point where I'm stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Like a car. I'm only on one lane, that's it. I don't see the other lanes. So you don't see how you can get around that traffic. Now you're sitting stuck in traffic and you're like, now you get discouraged on, this is not for me. And all of a sudden now you go backwards and try to turn around and go backwards to start it all over again.
Okay.
Instead of going around.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I don't want to lead you to where I think you need. I want you to lead where your blessing is.
Okay.
So that's why I say I'm not into being your mentor. I'm into being a strategic partner, because you have a business, I have a business. Okay, how can I help your business? How could you help my business, right? And that's what we do. It may be semantics, but to me, it works.
You're watching The Traffic Jam.
But I'm gonna still get back to the other lessons, right?
Lessons. I didn't get the lesson.
But
Listen, honestly, There's not that many lessons. The first lesson is just start, right?
Just start. Yeah.
The first page says start. The second page says listen, go out and tell the world, at least your world, your bubble, right? And let them tell you, only talk to people that's going to tell you no.
Okay. So don't surround yourself with these yes.
Don't surround yourself with we shall overcome and we're going to go, right? Mama, I can sing. People that's going to tell you no. Why? Because what they're going to do is give you all the reasons, all the situations, that things that you're not thinking about. Because when you get trapped into thinking everything is great, you don't see anything wrong because you don't want to see anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So get all those things. And once you get a whiteboard, you put them up there and you check off everything that they said, the reason why it can't happen, and you make a reason why it can't happen, then you start.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So that's the basics of it.
Yeah.
Now, I wrote a book called Building an Empire, and it speaks about actually the thought behind being an entrepreneur. So I won't tell too many tales because, again, I want somebody to purchase the book.
To buy the book.
You're watching The Traffic Jam.
So we're going to do another exercise for the chest, and that's going to be a dumbbell chest press or dumbbell floor press. So you're just going to lay down on the ground, have the knees bent, hands at a 90-degree angle. You're going to press up, bring the weights together at the same time. Make sure your lower back is in contact with the mat. Bring it down all the way to the ground and press up. Now this is really great, particularly if you have a limited shoulder range of motion, or if you have ever hurt your shoulders, or you have any sort of tenderness in your chest as a result of doing too heavy of a chest press. I know that this is something that happens to a lot of men. So if you have limited shoulder mobility, or if you've experienced some sort of pain or discomfort in this region as a result of bench pressing, then this is a good way to get back into it once you feel like you are healing, because the limited range of motion will prevent you from going too far into that eccentric phase. It will help you focus on your form more while still being able to work the chest. So a floor press is a really good option.
You're watching The Traffic Jam.
We hear so many times in relationships, communication is so important. Talk about the things that you feel uncomfortable, but you need to have these honest conversations. The only way it's going to work. Being transparent. We hear this time and time again. You know, and you have to understand, it sounds so simplistic that men and women are different. The way we communicate, women, when they vent and they're opening up, they have a problem. They don't need you to solve it, fix it. They just need you to listen. Effective listening. And men, women, when men are vulnerable, don't take jabs. Just console them. Make them feel safe. We heard it, that men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and homosexuals are from Uranus. It's the difference. I had a brother reach out to me, been with his woman for a couple of years. It's been a while. And, he gained weight. And he wants to lose this weight, and his woman gained weight, but he said she gained weight. He feel like it's another person living in the house, right? So he doesn't know how to just say to her, and it's not that he lost any attraction to this woman. He just wants to be healthy and work out together. Let's do this, lose this weight together. So I told him, I said, sometimes you just got to have those conversations, and you don't do it in the bedroom. That's for intimacy, With these conversations, have it in a safe space like a living room, and just sit her down. And eye contact is so important. Just look in the eyes and just tell her, listen, we have to discuss the elephant in the room. And take it from there. Just take it from there.
This is the Traffic Jam.